Quran, Surah 76, Al-Insan, the man. Is there not a period of time when each human is nothing yet worth mentioning? For indeed, we alone created humans from a drop of mixed fluids in order to test them, so we made them hear and see. We already showed them the way, whether they choose to be grateful or ungrateful. Indeed, we have prepared for the disbelievers chains, shackles, and a blazing fire. Indeed, the virtuous will have drink of pure wine, flavored with camphor, from a spring where Allah's servants will drink, flowing at their will. They are those who fulfill their vows and fear a day of sweeping horror, and give food, despite their desire for it, to the poor, to the orphan, and to the captive, saying to themselves, "We feed you only for the sake of Allah, seeking neither reward nor thanks from you. We fear from our Lord a horribly distressful day." So Allah will deliver them from the horror of that day, and grant them radiance and joy, and reward them for their perseverance in a garden in paradise and garments of silk. There they will be reclining on canopied couches, never seeing scorched heat or bitter cold. The garden's shade will be right above them, and its fruit will be made very easy to reach. They will be waited on with silver vessels and cups of crystal, crystalline silver filled precisely as desired. And they will be given a drink of pure wine, flavored with ginger, from a spring there called salsabil. And they will be waited on by eternal youths. If you saw them, you would think they were scattered pearls. And if you looked around, you would see indescribable bliss and a vast kingdom. The virtuous will be dressed in garments of fine green silk and rich brocade and adorned with bracelets of silver, and their Lord will give them a purifying drink. And they will be told, "All this is surely a reward for you. Your striving has been appreciated." Indeed, it is we who have revealed the Quran to you, O Prophet, in stages. So be patient with your Lord's decree, and do not yield to any evildoer or staunch disbeliever from among them. Always remember the name of your Lord morning and evening, and prostrate before him during parts of the night, and glorify him long at night. Surely those pagans love this fleeting world, totally neglecting a weighty day ahead of them. It is we who created them and perfected their physical form. But if we will, we can easily replace them with others. Surely this is a reminder. So let whoever wills take the right way to their Lord. But you cannot will to do so unless Allah wills. Indeed, Allah is all-knowing, all-wise. He admits whoever He wills into His mercy. As for the wrongdoers, He has prepared for them a painful punishment. And now the Arabic, as recited by Saad al-Ghamdi.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم هل أتى على الإنسان حين من الدهر لم يكن شيئا مذكورا إنا خلقنا الإنسان من نطفة أمشاج نبتليه فجعلناه سميعا بصيرا إنا هديناه السبيل إما شاكرا وإما كفورا إنا أعتدنا للكافرين سلاسل وأغلالا وسعيرا إن الأبرار يشربون من كأس كان مزاجها كافورا عينا يشرب بها عباد الله يفجرونها تفجيرا يوفون بالنذر ويخافون يوما كان شره مستطيرا ويطعمون الطعام على حبه مسكينا ويتيما وأسيرا إنما نطعمكم لوجه الله لا نريد منكم جزاء ولا شكورا إنا نخاف من ربنا يوما عبوسا قمطريرا فوقاهم الله شر ذلك اليوم ولقاهم نضرة وسرورا وجزاهم بما صبروا جنة وحريرا متكئين فيها على الأرائك لا يرون فيها شمسا ولا زمهريرا ودانية عليهم ظلالها وذللت قطوفها تذليلا ويطاف عليهم بآنية من فضة وأكواب كانت قوارير من فضة قدروها تقديرا ويسقون فيها كأسا كان مزاجها زنجبيلا عينا فيها تسمى سلسبيلا ويطوف عليهم ولدان مخلدون إذا رأيتهم حسبتهم لؤلؤا منثورا وإذا رأيت ثم رأيت نعيما وملكا كبيرا عاليهم ثياب سندس خضر وإستبرق وحلوا أساور من فضة وسقاهم ربهم شرابا طهورا إن هذا كان لكم جزاء وكان سعيكم مشكورا إنا نحن نزلنا عليك القرآن تنزيلا فاصبر لحكم ربك ولا تطع منهم آثما أو كفورا واذكر اسم ربك بكرة وأصيلا ومن الليل فاسجد له وسبحه ليلا طويلا إن هؤلاء يحبون العاجلة ويذرون وراءهم يوما ثقيلا نحن خلقناهم وشددنا أسرهم وإذا شئنا بدلنا أمثالهم تبديلا إن هذه تذكرة فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه سبيلا وما تشاءون إلا أن يشاء الله إن الله كان عليما حكيما يدخل من يشاء في رحمته والظالمين أعد لهم عذابا أليما.
A while back, or I guess you could say a long time ago, depending on your perspective, there was a famous study involving a group of kids and some marshmallows. It went something like this. Kids were put in a room with a marshmallow, and they were told they could eat that one marshmallow now. Or if they waited 15 minutes, they could have 2 marshmallows. That's pretty simple, right? Now, the general claim of this simple study was actually anything but trivial. It said that the children who waited the 15 minutes for that extra marshmallow, as they tracked them through life, they were actually more successful and better at just about every part of life. They had higher test scores, fewer behavioral problems. And the implications of this behavioral difference found in this way at this extremely early age would be super obvious when translated into adulthood. Now, a quick caution. This is a study, which is a study, which means it's half of them are just like thrown in the garbage right away. And this also comes from the world of social sciences. If you've seen this world very close up, or maybe you've just been around the block a few times, you just might be very skeptical of the social sciences. And some of you may have even come to the conclusion that 90+% of that entire field is nothing but ideologically driven nonsense. And I get it. Even the marshmallow test is fiercely debated as to just how broad a claim can be really made, and extrapolated from this test. But that's not the point I'm making here. Whether the marshmallow study is true or false, for our purposes here, that's mostly beside the point. What we're going to be talking about is the value system being implied, the importance of delayed gratification, the virtue of patience, and of believing the promised reward. And that's why I'm talking about this. The marshmallow test greatly mirrors the Islamic virtues being presented in this surah, particularly when it comes to the afterlife. The emphasis is on patience, delayed gratification, and a belief in the authority that is making the promise. The patience will help the child sit in front of a marshmallow for 15 minutes, just as it will help the Muslim resist temptation. When the child is sitting there with the one marshmallow, it's probably best to think of the two marshmallows that will soon be there. Just as a Muslim, when perhaps grieving the appetites that he has to suppress in this life, will have to think of the rewards being promised in a surah like this. And like the child, for this experiment to be valid at all, the person has to believe that the adults will hand over that extra marshmallow in the end. Muslims must believe in the promise of God through faith, without which, obviously, this entire thing collapses. You have to actually believe that the promised rewards will come to fruition. So, this earthly life is the marshmallow, and the afterlife, the second marshmallow. You see this throughout the surah, the importance of delayed gratification. You cannot live this lifestyle now, because that would be greedy, gluttonous, but just hang on a bit. Hang on until after death, and you will be given a double portion of these things that you want. Now just read through this surah. The usual cardinal descriptions of paradise that you see throughout the Quran. There's wine and servants and silk clothing, comfortable furniture, sweet food, luxury table settings. Some of this stuff would be iffy on earth, but these are not frivolous indulgences in the afterlife. They are the rewards for not taking that first marshmallow. And this is also illustrated using the sensations of hot and cold as a guide, sort of, as to how to balance this life between hot and cold to stay in the safe zone. Kind of like on an older car's dashboard, where you wanted to keep an eye every once in a while on that temperature. Because if it was in the blue, take it easy for a little bit. And if it's a cold day, just don't expect any heat to come out yet. And if it's in the red, just take it easy. You're destroying the engine. You just might have to turn it off completely before it catches fire. Or if you prefer a more natural metaphor, you need to moderate your mind and soul to maintain a constant temperature, much like a mammal does. The less successful, in terms of the afterlife, they're not really mammals. They're more like reptiles, cold-blooded animals. Their body temperature is determined by what is around them. They have no fire inside, no temperature control. They are whatever the world is. So the balance between hot and cold. It's a theme here. And that's not a small thing. In our world, when we think in terms of temperature, we're thinking in terms of comfort. So keep in mind that this would be much more significant to the original Arabian audience than it would be to us. Now, where I live, the temperature swings from 100 degrees from season to season, but it's not something you really feel much unless you're outside all the time. The house is always around 70 degrees, whether it's 0 or 100 outside. Now, for you non-Americans, that is minus 18 to about 38 or so Celsius, which sounds much less dramatic. That's actually why I'm a furious defender of Fahrenheit, at least as a gauge of the human environment. I love it. Celsius, yeah, that's great in a lab. But if you want a simple 0 to 100 scale of bearable human temperatures, for regular people, Fahrenheit is spectacular. You can't beat it. And I hope it lives forever. Anyway, the desert temperature swings, they weren't as dramatic as the American Midwest, and much more on the warm side, but you were still at the mercy of whatever temperature the outside happened to be. And you can take it like a lizard, or you can do things to actually mitigate the effect, like seeking shade and water when it's hot, drinking it, putting it on your body, or building shelter for when it's cold. Now, here in the afterlife, God is basically doing all of that for you. This is why you see these references to hot and cold things. Like in line 13, there they will be reclining on canopied couches, never seeing scorching heat or bitter cold. So because these people were able to temper themselves in life, they will be permanently removed as a reward from uncomfortable temperature changes, dangerous even temperature changes. And you see this too in things that might not be super obvious to the modern reader. For example, take a look at line 17. And they will be given a drink of pure wine flavored with ginger. Or if you'd like a more literal translation, there are they watered with a cup whereof the mixture is of zanjabil. Now, ginger, or literally zanjabil, apparently ginger was a way to bring the feeling of warmth to something. So there is that. But there's a deeper meaning here than simply heat. Zanjabil means, literally, at least in ancient Arabic, to ascend the mountain. Zana, to ascend. Jabal, the mountain. It's a sort of a compound word, but it also means ginger. So, from a certain point of view, this could mean that God is giving you the means to climb the mountain. God is literally feeding you a terrific accomplishment. I think this is why only some translators actually translate this as ginger. Many others just leave the Arabic word in there, zanjabil. Now, on that note, let me clarify a few other terms like this. Places where the Arabic word tends to be just stuck right in there without much of an explanation. Actually, look at the very next line, line 18. This is where the zanjabil drink comes from. It comes from a spring there called salsabil. Salsabil. What is that? And why is it left in there in the original Arabic by most translators? Well, for one thing, in English, it links the two lines by making them rhyme, as they would in the Arabic. And while you could take zanjabil more literally, you can't really do that with salsabil. Because for one, salsabil, this is the name of a fountain. And that can be just about anything, really. And also because salsabil, well, to English speakers, it sounds more like something on a Mexican restaurant menu. It literally means seek the way. So, like zanjabil, Its name both means the ultimate reward for an action and the actual action that gets you there, meaning climb the mountain, seek the way. This is how you get to these heavenly rewards. And one other thing like this. Look at line 5. You'll see something like, "Indeed, the virtuous will have a drink of pure wine, flavored with camphor." Or, "Lo, the righteous shall drink a cup whereof the mixture is of kafur." Now, in English or Arabic, this is confusing. So, I'll clarify. Some just put the Arabic word in there, kafura. This is given as a proper name of a spring in paradise. Or alternately, they use the word camphor. What the heck is camphor? Camphor is an ancient medicine. From the description, it seems similar to Epsom salt or ibuprofen, something like that. Something that calms the body, that reduces inflammation. So if ginger was the heat, I believe camphor would be the cold, just to run with that earlier metaphor. Either way, it is being supplied by God, and it is a good thing. Now, while we're on Arabic, I should give you an explanation of the title here. Al-Insan, the man. Now, there is an alternate title for this, and we'll get to that in a second, but Insan, the man. That doesn't mean the man as it is commonly used in English, as in you're the man. It refers to mankind as a whole. The man, the human, the whole of humanity. From the root alif, nun, sin, ans, which means to be social, to be intimate, relational, as we are to God. Al-Insan is in the very first verse, as is the alternate title, Al-Dar. The endless time is what that means. And the reason this is a competing title is the emphasis on time here, and not just delayed gratification, as we went over earlier. There is a historical argument in the background here, a refutation of a key pagan concept that is not obvious to the modern reader. In Muhammad's time, the pagan Arabs had a very interesting, if not unique, idea of what time was, of what it meant. Muhammad is preaching the judgment. It's basically the end of time, the end of earth time, the end of life as we know it, and then the birth of something else. But in his society, this just was not how time was viewed. Time was eternal, but more than that, it was uncontrollable. This is how it is. This is how it is, and this is how it always will be. The only things that ever changed were the things already here. They just get shuffled around, and not for any good reason. It just happened. It was extremely fatalistic, as in tied to fate. Things just jump around randomly. What happened would happen, and there was nothing you could really do about something that major, something as big as time. Because not even the pagan gods, I believe, had any control over time, or no one seemed to claim that. Time was referred to as Al-Dar, which meant not just time, but also fate. The invisible, personal force that dictated the cosmos and human behavior. Time was almost a deity in itself, manipulating itself and all within itself. So time was the actual unmoved mover of this society. A deity, really. So in that world, we had a different conception of time and of man. The Quran is telling us here that Actually, no. Time is not random, and time is not eternal, and time is most definitely not a deity. God is the master of time, and it ends when he says it ends. And similarly, the man, the human, people are not as you think they are either. We are not forever subject to this time. And more than that, we have agency in this whole thing, not the cosmos, us, people. A person can choose how to be and what will happen at the end of time, good or bad. And this will all be determined by the master of all, determined by God. Not by Al-Dar, but by Al-Ilah, the only God. So the Quran is telling these people, time does what God tells it to do. And those who think they are masters of the current time, especially the wicked, should not get too comfortable in that position, because reality will eventually rear its head. As the Quran states in line 28 of this surah, it is we who created them and perfected their physical form. But if we will, we can easily replace them with others. That is a warning to all who believe themselves to be the masters of men, the masters of time. It's an illusion, and it's not a healthy illusion. People, nations, even planets, universes even, they are replaceable. If God wills it, they disappear. And if God wills it, time will disappear as well. And with time, there really is no if about it. It's coming. So, we're being told, you need to be ready for it, always ready, and patient, and faithful, even hopeful that eventually God will be providing that second marshmallow. Thank you, and I'll talk to you next time. Inshallah.